Just clearing with some Palo Santo. Happy new moon. So the new moon is actually at midnight. So that is why it says the 13th. But, so it's technically like tonight. So just breathe in. And out. I'm going to describe the energy of this new moon, which you may have been feeling today and also for tomorrow. I'm going to give my two perspectives, as always. One from the traditional Western astrology or tropical astrology viewpoint, and the other being the sky astrology viewpoint, which is when we look up into the sky and we are able to see that the precession of the equinox changed the sign that we may have said it was in 25,000 years ago with the age shift. So, new moons are for new intentions. They start the lunar cycle all over again. So from December 14th, 2020 to January 13th, 2021 is one lunar month. So it doesn't follow the Gregorian calendar that we follow today. It follows its own natural cycle. So you can look back at December 14th, sorry, I almost said 13th, December 14th, and see what kind of cycle you started from then till now. How did your energy shift? How did you feel? What have you accomplished? You'll notice that a lot has happened in a very little amount of time, as time, or the way we perceive time, since time isn't quite real. So the way we perceive time has been sped up, and a lot more is going on. It is a lot more intense. Things that would have happened in maybe a year's time a couple years ago has now happened in a month. And that has also affected us in our growth. It's not just the chaotic energy that we view in the world stage. It's a personal energy too, if we look down in and zoom in our lives. So I'm going to talk about the energetic signatures, and again two, because I'm going to look at Western and sky. So the energetic signatures that you may feel, you might resonate with both Western and sky astrology. You might be able to understand and connect with both, and that's well and fine. You might feel connected to one way versus the other, and that's also fine. There's no right or wrong way to look at it. This is just interpretations of the energy based on two understandings. So with the Western tropical astrology, the sun, the moon, and Pluto are conjunct each other in Capricorn, and Venus is in Capricorn as well. And then we have Mars and Uranus in Taurus. This is still Western. And Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn in Aquarius. So that would be the energetic or layout for Western astrology. So that's 6 planets in Earth, an Earth element, and 3 in air. So this energy would be very grounded feeling. This is quite a physical feeling. I like to describe this one as, since it's heavy earth with some air influence, you might be feeling practical with your ideas. So ideas that you can actually work on, ideas that have steps to take, achieving goals, coming up with the idea and achieving your goals. And then also the other way I described it is productive conversations. So again, the earth influence on the air. So the energetic influence for this upcoming month for you might be really getting down to what can I do and how do I communicate that clearly. And then with the sky astrology, we look at everything is read through the precession. So where we can actually look up and see the planets are sitting. The sun, moon, and Pluto are conjunct, with Venus also in the same sign of Sagittarius. So now we have a fire energy instead of an earth energy, very different. But then we also have Mars and Uranus instead of Taurus actually in Aries. Again, more fire, so it's now 6 fire instead of 6 earth. And then Jupiter, Mercury, and Saturn in Capricorn. So we still get some earth energy, so it's 6 fire, 3 earth. So this perspective of this new moon is more, rather than just practical ideas, this one is inspired action. This is when we feel that fire. It feels very passionate, something that can't quite be contained and needs to be physically acted upon. So it's the fire and earth combination. Another interpretation of this would be doing what it takes to actually transform. So the physical activity, the groundwork is where that earth energy is felt. But then transformation and inspiration is all that fire energy. It's not just this heavy, it's not just this really heavy energy. Instead, it feels fueled, or feels like there's energy there to access. Sometimes earth can be so overproductive that it's hard to access. So with some fire there, think about, putting fire under you. You're going to move. So in Western astrology, with the moon being interpreted as in Capricorn, the sun is in Capricorn, so we have a lot of Capricorn energy for Western astrology. You might feel really heavy and burdened. This could come off that way. So we like to think of everything as feeling really good, but very often, if we're not using or applying the energy that the universe is dawning upon us and we kind of do nothing with it, sometimes we get some negative feelings. So it could feel heavy, burden, and lack of energy. This will be like couch potato status or lack of motivation. And then on the other hand, with sky astrology, if you're feeling more in tune with what the sky is directly showing us, the energy is heavy in fire. And fire energy, if again not being used productively or not being accessed, could feel restless, irritated, flighty, and anxious. So we go from one being really, really heavy to the other being like, okay, I got to get out of here. I got to escape. Something's very irritating. I feel confined. So that'll be 2 good ways to notice which sign you might be in tune with. Are you in tune with the sky astrology, or are you feeling the Western version, the earthbound energy? I'm sure I explained this before, but I'm going to explain it briefly right now. Is that my personal interpretation of integrating both Western and sky is that Western astrology is this really earthbound 3D kind of pattern that we've all reinforced of this energy that we understand it exists through the seasons. So it's kind of what grounds us to earth, a very 3D sense. And I'm not judging and saying one is better than the other, but it's more of you'll watch the world stage, I feel, kind of interpret more of Western astrology. And then the integration of sky astrology is integrating the shift, is integrating breaking out of the pattern and breaking out of the routine and seeing with our own eyes that the sky and our interpretation of where things have been can change, right? So it's the awakening to a different time, to a different reality almost. And that to me is a more spirit connected, because you're looking up, you're waking up. It takes you to really pay attention to what's going on versus just tuning into the pattern. So like, let's say one is conscious choice, conscious tuning in, and then one would be unconscious if you're not trying to access the energy, would most likely feel reinforced. So if that makes sense, that's my two understandings, which is why I still read both. So I read Western and then I also read Sky, because I'm integrating the 3D reality with the 5D or higher reality perspective, so to speak. So both of these interpretations have in common that the sun and the moon are conjunct Pluto right now. So conjunct meaning perceivably right next to. And Pluto carries a very intense energy. So Pluto is Scorpio's planetary ruler. So he has a lot of that Scorpio energy, qualities and traits. And so that brings this scorpionic energy to the picture. So what does that mean? That means whether you're feeling the Capricorn or Sagittarius, chances are this is intense regardless. Pluto doesn't just show up for no reason. I mean, it's the slowest moving. So when we have a new moon or a full moon or one of the personal planets conjunct Pluto, we know that we're getting a very big, a really reinforced message here. Like, it didn't line up for no reason. The sky is always with purpose. So Pluto is our personal power. Very devoted, almost to an obsession, because that's some of that Scorpio quality where it's really connected and really focused. So it can be a dedicated energy or an obsession energy. Extremely transformative. When Pluto is present, there's a chance or an opportunity, I'd rather prefer that word, for intense healing. So not just superficial, this is like real healing, trauma healing. And then, of course, the destruction and creation cycle, the life and death. And that doesn't often, I like to say destruction and creation more than life and death, because so many people take that so literally, especially with the time that we're in right now. Everyone's so upset with the idea of death. So what I like to say is the destruction of one for the birth of another. So destruction and creation. So if you're channeling or paying attention to the Western astrology, earthbound energy, it's time for the responsibility, maturity. It's time for logic and reason. This new moon is starting a new beginning, a new chapter into getting grounded, seeing what's really going on and applying yourself. You can't just sit back anymore and, allow things to happen. This is very much the get your hands dirty. Capricorn does the work. Capricorn is super reliable, and you got to really be there for yourself. The self-sufficient energy is here. This is also very grounding in the Western. In Western sky, we have a whole lot of Earth. It's 6 planets in Earth. So they really want you to be here, be in the now, be present. And so integrating that Pluto energy, take your personal power and do something, create something, get your hands on something. Take your reality and transform it, whether that's your own business and starting it, or just getting involved in your life more, participating more. It's all about being physically involved, very intensely and devoted to your own life, to your personal reality. And then with the sky astrology perspective, we're in Sagittarius energy. Sagittarius is a fire sign, the archer. So where Capricorn's really doing the work and climbing the mountain, Sagittarius has to focus on something and keep a very solid focus to shoot the arrow, the archer. So you have to be focusing on something, some goal. So it's very goal oriented. Both have goals. One is a lot more of that, I have to do this responsibility, versus Sagittarius, who is more of the opportunist, I get to do. So it's a little more inspired. So both do the work, but Sagittarius is a bit more inspired. So with the Sagittarius moon, some of these themes are seeking expansion in your reality. Looking around at taking stock of what you have, what's going on, and where can you expand? Where is there room for growth? Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is the biggest energetic planet or body in the sky. And so it really expands everything it's near. So are you expanding your spirituality? Are you expanding your intelligence? Are you expanding your abundance? Expand your wisdom. It's a very wise sign. So it's Sagittarius is the teacher. So they step from being the student into the teacher. So we're applying the lessons. We are really looking back of what we've learned and saying, okay, I got this. I can move forward. So again, fire the arrow at something, at a goal, in a direction. With its inspired action, it really is. So this is also a very truthful sign. So Sagittarius is all about the truth. And if we add that Pluto aspect, that scorpionic energy that Pluto carries, then we're going for deep truths. It doesn't matter if it hurts. It doesn't matter what it looks like. We want the truth. This is not time for fabrication. This is not time for superficiality. This is time for asking the bigger questions. So again, think expansion, think big. I would like to sum up the Sagittarius moon with ask the big questions and see the big picture. That's to me what this new moon really represents, is can we ask ourselves the big questions? Can we dive into uncomfortable truths? And can we apply ourselves to our 3D physical lives? We often like to create the worlds in our head, and new moons are great for that, intention setting, visualization. But when it comes down to our reality, are we doing the work? Are we really applying ourselves? So marrying the two ideas, Western and sky. Can we take inspired action? Can we be fired up and present in the moment? And can we ignore the distractions and laser focus on a task to achieve our goal? So for this new moon, whether you're looking at the Capricorn or the Sagittarius, set some intentions for growth, whether that is in your physical reality or your spiritual reality. It is intention time. So I like to write a couple things down. If I'm feeling inspired in the moment, you can sit down and do this with purpose, or if it just dawns on you, like sometimes I'm not thinking of anything and then it'll dawn on me, I'll write something, can't think of anything else, let it go for a little while, and then I'll get another, come back to it, write it. So if you're good at sitting down and dedicating to it, write a couple things down. If not, take a little time. When it's inspired and you think about it, write it. Those are sometimes just simply channeled. So it doesn't matter how you do it, but think and envision and think about what this next lunar month can bring to you. So again, we close out one lunar month from December 14th, 2020 with the Ophiuchus eclipse or Sagittarius eclipse. So if you are following the Western, it was Sagittarius, but if you're following sky, it was Ophiuchus. And now in the present time, January 13th, then we are in either Western, which would be the next Capricorn, or sky, which would be the next Sagittarius. Again, sky takes into account the precession, so it follows along. So on the basis of new moon, new intentions, I'm going to pull an oracle card and just see if we can get an idea of a theme or an area that we should focus on. We'll just see what we can get. So new moon, new intentions. We'll see what this lunar month has in store for us. Hi everyone. I could finally get to look down because I was reading my notes, make sure I didn't miss anything. Love your interpretation to Western. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, that's just how I feel like, as we shift and change our perception of, reality is changing, and therefore our physical reality, the sky, we look up, there's evidence of the shift, and I think one of them is the fact that our sky is changing. And so where Western is a pretty big has a pretty big following for a very long time. I feel like it does have roots still in Earth, and Earth is still most likely living out some of these patterns through our unconscious behavior. Therefore, Western does feel relevant, and to a degree it still is relevant in one of our realities, one of our shifting realities. And then Sky, takes an awareness, it takes looking up, it takes tuning in. It's kind of new, uncharted territory, and to me that represents the shift. New, uncharted awareness territory. So that's how that feels with me. It's why I still respect both. Okay, let's see what we can get. I'm just going to pull one. Just going to cut it. Third eye chakra. So this new moon is bringing us downloads. This new moon is bringing us the vision. It's interesting because to me this one goes a little more with the sky astrology perspective, because Sagittarius rules Jupiter, and Jupiter is very much the wisdom seeker. It would be the sight. So this card says, I see the wisdom of my higher self and apply this wisdom to my life. I feel like that just fits perfectly, especially with the applying the wisdom to life. So seeing the bigger picture, and then the Capricorn energy of doing the work. So I'm just going to close out this new moon reading with reading the card one more time. I see the wisdom of my higher self and apply the wisdom to my life. So I hope everybody enjoys the energy and really pays attention, tunes in, takes advantage of this new cycle, new lunar cycle. Again, so we're starting a new lunar month, so start fresh. Whatever you learned from the past month, whether you had some great things or some bad things, all lessons learned, all transformation can be integrated. It's all about integration, that Pluto conjunct the moon regardless of the view. We are integrating the lessons learned. We just got out of that conjunction window from the Great Conjunction. Everybody knows about that, December 21st. It's only been a lunar month. So this is integration time, take down, write it, what have you done? Take stock, look at it, reflect on it. New moons are very reflective. It's a dark, shadowy time, and that just means go within. Full moons feel very vibrant. They're the fertility peak of the month. So when we come to the new moons, we're very humbled. We look back at the lessons and we look forward to all the lessons to come. So as we sit in this moment, I thank you all again for joining me for this new moon. And let me know, comment on my page, direct message me. Let me know how you feel. Are you tuning into both realities? Do you feel the Capricorn moon? Do you feel the Sagittarius energy? If you feel both, that's great. I think that's kind of where we're supposed to be right now, bringing the big picture together, bringing two worlds together. So thank you all so very much. Hopefully this video saves this time. My last one didn't.